Stick around to the end of this video if you want to see bloopers on yet another one of my failed ideas slash experiments. We're going to be revisiting the second game that I ever played on my channel, and that is Everdell. Especially since the whole campaign is going on right now, I myself am debating whether or not to get the big box just to complete the collection of Everdell because I do really love this game. I'm doing a two-player game today, so tortoises versus the hares. How fitting. Oh, last thing before we get started, it is called a short for those that are joining in because I'm gonna play through only one season, at least until you get the gist of the game. Okay, so here's how Everdell works. You either play a card from your hand or you end up using a worker to put on any location on the board. So in order for me to play any of these cards in my hand, I have to pay the cost listed on the left side. So for example, the husband card, it costs 3 berries. Now I can do that, pay 3 berries, or I can also play a farm. And then if I have a farm in my city, which is like the 15 cards in front of you, if I have a farm in my city, then I can play this card without having to pay the 3 berry cost. So for the rabbits, I'm gonna play in that style and just try to build as many resources as I can, as fast as I can. So first up, let's get a farm. Now the cool thing is you have this space in front of you called the meadow, which are just 8 cards. As long as I have the resources listed, then I can go ahead and buy that card. So I need to gain 2 twigs and 1 resin. As I'm scanning the board, I'm taking my worker and trying to put this rabbit in a place where it's going to generate me the most resources related to 2 twigs and 1 resin. So the best spot currently looks like it's going to be over here. So I gain 2 twigs and 1 extra card. Bam! This is the card I drew. And here we have the peddler who's going to be able to exchange your resources. That's it. Either you place a worker or you play a card. Now we move on to the turtle's turn. So turtles, unlike the rabbits, are gonna play way more laid back. They're just gonna sit back and try to generate as many resources as they can in order to get the palace. They're gonna focus on scoring some big number of victory points that's going to take a long time to generate. So since the turtles wanna focus on getting the palace here is worth 4 victory points, which is a lot. And you can also gain 1 victory point for each unique construction in your city. So looking at my hand here as the turtles, I'm gonna keep the school because this is a unique construction. That's gonna give me some bonus victory points. The school also says that I'm gonna score 1 victory point for each common critter in my city. So if I wanna focus on the palace and on the school, then I need to play some common critters. So in my hand, I have the postal pigeon and the wife, which are both common critters. But I also have the general store, which gives me an extra berry if I have a farm. Here I have a farm, which gains me a berry. And here I have the twin barge, and that lets me gain 2 wood. So in Everdell, you have a ton of choices and a ton of combinations to play around with. What I'm gonna do is just straight up go for the palace. So I wanna gain 3 stones. Fastest way to do that is to take my turtle and place it over here, where I can discard up to 3 cards and gain 1 of any resource for any card. Stones are the hardest to come by, so I'm gonna discard 3 cards in order to gain 3 stones. I'm not gonna go for the critters, so I'm just gonna go ahead and discard these 3 and gain 3 stones. There we go, and that is the turtle's turn. Back on over to the rabbit. Now next up for the rabbits, I need to gain 1 more resin because I already have 2 logs in order to afford the farm here right in the meadow. So I'm gonna go again for a hybrid and place my rabbit over here where I gain 1 resin and 1 card. I want more cards so I have more options of what to play. And also, just in case I need to discard any cards, I have a full hand. Maximum hand limit is 8 cards. And next turn, back to the turtles. Now for the turtles, I realized I only have 1 worker left, and that's a problem because in the next season, you can activate any cards that have a green symbol on it. These are your resource generators. And if I go straight up for the palace, I'm not gonna have any resources to be generated in my city. So I'm gonna adjust my strategy and play the twig barge, but I need 1 more log to do so. So I'm gonna place my last turtle in a place where it's going to gain me the most amount of logs possible, which is over on the left corner here. Now I gain 3 logs. And a side note, I have one of the original editions, so these don't have the nice little stoppers that the updated ones have. Back to the rabbits, they've played all their workers now, so their only option is to now play a card from their hand. So for rabbits, I have 2 logs and I have 1 resin. So I was gonna play the farm, but then I realized, oh, wait a minute. The inn right here has the same exact cost, and if I play the inn, I can pay the same cost, but then I can also buy the farm for free in the meadow. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy the inn. Now this cost me 2 wood and 1 resin. So these go back to the bank, and the first card in my city is now the inn. Moving on back to the turtles, I'm now going to play the twin barge. So that's going to cost me 1 log and 1 stone. So this card now is going to be in my city. one stone, one twig, just like that. And the first card in the Turtle City is the Twin Barge. And now this also gets me 2 logs right away. So I already made my resources back in logs +1. Now, Rabbit's turn, I have no resources, I have no more workers, so now I have to prepare for season. Now, what does that mean? So you'll notice that the Everdell actually is pretty quick, right? You only do 1 action on your turn. So once you understand where you can go on the map to generate your resources, or which cards that you're planning to play from your hand or from the meadow, then that's it. So since I'm out of workers for the rabbit, I now have to prepare for season. And everyone does their own preparation for season on their own time, their own timeline. Since we start in the winter and we're now moving on to spring, I gain a worker from the Evertree. So I'm gonna take my rabbit from the top, and then I'm also gonna take all my workers back from the map. So I'm gonna take 1 from here, 1 from here, and now I have 3 total to use again. The last thing you do to prepare for season is to reactivate all cards in your city that have a green plant symbol. I have none because I only have the inn right here. So this is not a green symbol. This symbol basically means I have to put a worker here in order to activate it. And that's it, so that's my turn for the rabbits. Moving on to the turtles. Now turtles also don't have any other workers, but I can actually buy 1 more card here from the meadow. So I'm gonna buy the carnival for 2 log and 1 stone. So 1 stone, 2 logs, and now I can buy the carnival. So the carnival allows me to draw 1 extra card since I have the twin barge in my city. So next card for turtles are, bam, right there, and it is another twin barge. And that's fine, another resource generator won't hurt. Apparently for the turtles, I'm getting further and further away from the palace. Last thing before moving on to the rabbit's turn, I'm now gonna draw a card from the main deck and replace the last metal card that was taken. Rabbit's turn, we'll go ahead and play out spring. So now for this one, I'm gonna take my worker and put it on a card in my city. I'm gonna put it on the inn. Now the reason for that is because the inn actually says an open sign. So the turtles can put their own worker here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now before they sabotage me. So I'm gonna put my rabbit here, and now I can play any card from the meadow for 3 less resources. In that case, I'm gonna take the farm, and the farm costs 3 resources, so that's going to be free. Then I gain a berry right away. Moving on to the turtle's turn. You know what, I am ready to prepare for season as well. So I'll take my turtle from up top. I'll take my turtles back over here. For some reason, I put a turtle back in the tree, but it's fine. I have 3 turtles now, back to my pool. And now I also activate all the green cards in my city. So in this case, you can see how it's an engine builder, right? So now I'm going to gain 2 wood, and I'm going to activate the carnival again and draw a card for this green card in my city. So here are my 2 wood, and I draw 1 more card. And here's the one I just drew, which is the architect. Now you also want to keep in mind here that there are also some event cards up top. Since the historian just appeared in the meadow, here's one thing to keep in mind. So these event cards, you have to have the buildings that are listed up top or the critters that are listed, and then you can place a worker here and you have now achieved this event. So in this case, I would gain some bonus victory points for some cards that I draw. So that is the turtle's turn. They have now prepared for season. They're done. Moving on to the rabbit's turn. Now for the rabbits, I realized that there's a ranger card in the middle. This is a really good card because now I can move my rabbit that's already placed in my construction to another place. So I'm gonna try to gain some berries. Rabbit's gonna go straight over here and automatically gain 3 berries. Back to the turtle's turn, and the turtle is pretty loaded. They have 4 logs and 1 stone. So we're gonna make some more steps towards the palace. In order to do that, I'm gonna take my turtle and go back to discarding 3 cards and gaining 1 resource for each card. So I'm only gonna keep the farm, discard these 3 cards, and I'm gonna take 2 stone and 1 resin. If I was playing the rabbit, which I technically am, I'd be pretty nervous right now because turtles over here have a ton of resources and they also have the same amount of construction that I have. However, I'm dead broke. The only thing rabbits have are berries, and berries can only buy critters, which are gonna be like one-time uses. They're not gonna generate stuff like turtle over here. And by stuff, I mean resources, because the wanderer here can actually get me 3 cards. But it is okay because I'm gonna take my 2 berries and buy the ranger. Bam, and the ranger allows me to move any one of my rabbits to any other location. So, where to go? I'm gonna take my rabbit and put it over here. So 2 cards and any 1 resource. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Perfect, I have constructions which are exactly what I'm looking for. And I also get to take one of any resource. I'm gonna take the most difficult resource, so 1 stone for me. Back to turtles, I need to get 2 more resin. So I'll make it simple. Take turtle over here, 2 resin. Bam, I am now ready to buy the palace on my next turn. Well, the ruins here actually have 0 cost, so I'm gonna take this one from the meadow. but in turn, I have to discard a construction from my city. So I'm going to discard the farm, but in turn, I get to get those costs back. So I gain 2 logs, I gain 1 resin, and I also get to draw 2 more cards. And I also have to get rid of 2 now because I have way more than 8 cards in my hand. So I'm gonna get rid of the Ruin, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 Teacher. Now the reason why I wanted the Ruin is because I have a Peddler in my hand. If you can notice here, I can now play this Peddler for free. And I also gained a wife just now, so I can now play the husband card and pair those 2 together as well. Okay, Turtle's turn. I now have enough resources to buy the palace. So 3 resin, 3 stone, and bam, 2 logs. Here goes this money palace, 4 victory points, just like that. Replace the meadow, and that is the Turtle's turn. Rabbit has 1 final worker left this season. I'm gonna play the Peddler right away. Now because of the ruins, I'm now gonna play the Peddler, and I'm gonna switch out 1 of my logs to 1 berry. Turtle's turn. I now have 1 worker left. I want to play the farm from my hand as well, so I need to gain some resin. So for my last worker, I'm gonna take my turtle, put it here, gain 1 resin, draw 1 card. And I've drawn the dungeon. Back to rabbits, I'm gonna take 3 berries and buy a miner mole. So this one allows me to copy a construction, which is perfect because I want to copy some of that twin barge over there on the turtle side. Okay, so now turtles will prepare for season, and in the summer plants don't really grow, so in this case they would gain 2 workers and none of the green plant symbols in their cities would activate. So that's pretty much how Everdell plays. It's a ton of worker placement, right? You're trying to gain resources by putting your workers in different spots. Eventually you're gonna gain some event cards up top which gain you some bonus victory points. If you have enough of different card symbols, so for instance, if you have 3 plant symbols, you can gain some events up top of the board as well. It's pretty much managing the limited resources that you have. It's also an engine builder, and what that means is your city is going to pretty much ramp up over time. So you'll notice how as you gain more and more farm and more of all these constructions, they're going to gain you more and more resources each turn. And then therefore, you get to perform more actions as you progressively go on in each round. And that is the cinematic gameplay short of Everdell. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stick around for a little bit so you can see my little experiment that I mentioned in the beginning. So I do want to apologize because in actuality, I'm a fraud. I haven't been filming or doing all of this alone. I've actually had help the entire time. And you want to just come say hi, or? All right, let's just scoot over. It is about time you introduce me. Jesus. Hi, everybody. My name's B1 Board Games. Been around for quite some time. Actually, it was my channel to begin with, but someone decided to take it from me. But you know what? It is what it is.